What's up, guys? It's the Real Ben here to talk about things that Star Wars prequels did better than the originals. A lot of people say the the prequels are horrible movies and they're not worthy of the Star Wars name. A lot of people want to get rebooted or just say it's not canon, but they're here, and I personally like them. But nobody really talks about the things the prequels did better than the originals. I want to take some time to talk about today. It's part one of this video about what the Star Wars prequels did better than the originals. Number one is the lightsaber fights. Even the most haters of the prequels can't argue the fact that the lightsaber duels and battles are far and way better in the prequels. The advances made in technology are obviously the main reason why lightsabers improved, but that's not the whole story. There was more to these new duels and battles than just how well the lightsabers looked and flowed on screen. It was the makeup of the fights themselves they took a huge leap forward. Specifically, the choreography of the fights. In the original trilogy, the lightsaber duels were very slow paced and resembled more of a fencing contest than the battle with swords, with laser swords. In the prequels, we got to see how Lucas had envisioned the lightsabers to be. They were the top of the class and we get into weaponry. It was the golden age of the Jedi. There was nothing the lightsabers couldn't do. And unlike the original trilogy, the Jedi weren't shy about using them in any situation. Locked out of a room and R2-D2 is not there, just cut through with your lightsaber. Being shot by a blaster or two, no worries, just to deflect the shots back at them with your lightsaber. And then reach of the battle droids, problem solved, just throw your lightsaber at them. When we saw the double-sided lightsaber wielded by Darth Maul, it allowed them to fight two Jedi simultaneously. We saw General Grievous use 4, so no matter how much you hate the prequels, you at very least like the lightsaber fights. And number 4 is the Clone Troopers. In the original trilogy, we saw this vast galactic empire and its countless stormtroopers ruling the galaxy with an iron fist. The stormtroopers appeared to be ultimate police force. However, more often than not, when it came to their interactions with Luke, Han, and the rest of the Rebel Alliance, we saw them act like nothing short of buffoons. They would routinely fall for the Rebel tricks. What's that? Your transmitter's down, TK421. I'll just leave my post guarding the control room to go check on that for you. Well, I don't know. We all had our time mentally checking out while at work or bypassing protocol for what we seem deemed simple issues. It's too much a hassle to deal with the procedures and possible paperwork that will follow. It was just a malfunctioning transmitter, for crying out loud. There is no excuse for any kind that could explain the absolute travesty that it was being completely whipped by a clan of Ewoks. So, yeah, the Clone Troopers and the prequel would never fall for such tricks or be defeated by an army of Alpha lookalikes. The Clone Troopers seemed much more educated. You saw them design battle tactics. You saw them strategize with one another. You saw them actually conduct themselves as you would expect an army to do. And most importantly, they followed orders. Betrayed the Jedi and all the people they were allied with because Order 66 is invoked. Done. In the blink of an eye, they flip. Soldiers are supposed to take orders and get the job done with no questions asked. Unlike the Stormtroopers in the original trilogy, the Clone Troopers did just that. If the Stormtroopers could have stayed the way they were in the prequel trilogy, then maybe the Emperor and Darth Vader would triumph or won. Number 3, Jango Fett. Jango Fett was the original Fett. As you find out through the prequel trilogy, he is also much more important to the Star Wars universe than his more popular son, Boba Fett. Jango was chosen as the person to be cloned during the creation of the clone army. Now that it's saying something right there. If you are creating an army of clones to defend, take over the universe, you want to make sure you choose the right person. You want someone who possesses all the attributes and abilities you're looking for. Jango was that man. Boba Fett, on the other hand, in the original trilogy, was only a shadow of the man Jango was in the new trilogy. In fact, he wasn't a man at all, he's a clone. Never before has a character become such a wildly popular film icon for doing less than Boba Fett in the original films. His screen time in the whole trilogy borders on to a 5 or 10 minute mark at best. When we do see him, he's usually just standing there in the background doing nothing. His only real bit of action we see him fall to defeat a temporarily blinded Han Solo, and eventually fall to his apparent death in the Great Pit of Carcoon. Jango Fett in the new trilogy was everything all of us fans hoped Boba Fett would have been in the original trilogy. He's a cocky bounty hunter out for his own, cause never running from a fight. We saw him fly, utilize both his handheld guns, just shoot the rocket from his jetpack, and of course, you got to see his famed ship Slave One in battle. You saw him fight and kill numerous Jedi Knights before eventually meeting his demise at the hands of Mace Windu. Failing to the number 2 ranked Jedi and arguably the best fighter on the Jedi Council is no real shame, at least not compared to how Boba died, being knocked into the Sarlacc pit. And this advancement in technology again aided the fact that we were able to see Jango in the proper action sequences George Lucas initially envisioned effects to take part in. That however doesn't take away from just how much more crucial and pivotal to the plot and development of the story Jango is. The Force. It surrounds us and penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together. So said Obi-Wan Kenobi to Luke Skywalker during his introduction to the Force. The Force is one of the most strongest aspects of the whole Star Wars universe. It is what gives the Jedi and the Sith the special abilities they use to either control or protect the galaxy, depending on which side of the Force they reside. While both trilogies gave us facts and information regarding the Force, is through the visible use of the Force that allows the prequel trilogy to shine over the original. In the original trilogy, the concept of the Force was new to everyone. It was a special power harnessed by the Jedi and Sith, being that there was barely any of them left in the original trilogy. We did get a great visual sense of what the Force was actually capable of. We saw Force pulls by Luke retrieving his lightsaber from the ice on Hoth, and Yoda by retrieving Luke's down X-Wing from the swamps on Dagobah. We even saw the Force choke a few times from Darth Vader on some of his subordinates. The only time we really saw what the Force was capable of, as far as being a true weapon, was when we witnessed the Force lightning of the Emperor. In the prequel trilogy, we experienced the Force as a whole different entity from the moment Episode 1 began. It was the era of the Jedi, so naturally we saw the Force used much more prominently. We see Force jumps, Force pulls, Force pushes, Force runs. It's also a time where there are more active Sith. When the Jedi fight these Sith in battle, they use the Force more often than the original trilogy. Prime example of this occurs at the end of Episode 2, when Yoda faces off with Count Dooku. The majority of the fight involves them exchanging blows using the knowledge of the Force. Count Dooku starts off by using the Force to break off and throw metal pieces attached to the wall at Yoda. Once they have them blocked, Dooku then attempts to collapse the part of the roof above Yoda, using the Force again to have it blocked by the Yoda. Count Dooku shoots the Force lightning at Yoda, who simply absorbs it and throws it back at him. One of the sort of uses of the Force was Episode 1 Phantom Menace, where Darth Maul fighting Obi-Wan towards the end of the film. They approach a door that needs to be opened. Darth Maul uses the Force to take a battle droid head and throws it towards the door switch, opening it up so they can continue on with the fight. So yeah, that's why I think the Force was used in better. We know how the story ends. Audience love surprises, whether it's having a plot twist during the film, a character turning bad, or becoming a hero unexpectedly. Being caught off guard adds an interesting aspect to the movie experience. However, there is something very unique about a story working in the reverse order. We already know how things end up. We already know how it lives, who dies, who makes the galaxy defining choices. But how did it get there? That was something we had spent endless hours envisioning ever since it was known that Lucas was planning to make a prequel trilogy. Everyone had their opinions on what Lucas would include in the movies, what he should include in the movies, and how certain plot points should happen. The prequel trilogy may not have lived up to everyone's expectation, but honestly, how could they? as anything with as popular as Star Wars, there were too many mouths to feed as far as pleasing them with the films. Lucas was doomed to fail from the beginning. The original trilogy was epic and groundbreaking. It was superior as a whole to the prequel trilogy. It had plot twists and unexpected character becoming a hero. That being said, the original trilogy was still the linear story we were accustomed to seeing in movies. We were introduced to the characters and followed them along the way for 3 movies as they started and concluded their journey. The only problem was that it wasn't the whole story Lucas was trying to tell us. It didn't have the backstory. The prequel trilogy allowed us to see into the past of some of the characters we grew to know and love in the original trilogy. And in doing so, we were able to find out how and more importantly, why the galaxy far, far away came to be. So, anyway, that's my thoughts on 5 things. Part 1. Things the Star Wars prequels did better in the original trilogy. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace. Deuces.